निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नन्दगोपसुतं देवं पूतना शकट तृणावर्तमर्धनं यशोदा परमानन्दं दामोदरं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं दामोदरं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं नमामि ईश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्राजमानं यशोदाभियः उलूकलाद्धावमानं परामृष्टम् अत्यन्तो गोपधृत्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं मृजन्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सताङ्कनेत्रं मुहुश्वासकं पत्रिरेकाकण्ठस्थितं ग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् दामोदरं Bhakti-bhaddham. One of the most unique, extraordinarily unique Kalyana Guna of Bhagavan, as Shuka explains, is the Guna of Bhrityavashyata. What an extraordinary Guna of Bhagavan. The Purushottama, the Parameshwara, the Parabrahman, the Supreme Controller, chooses to become a servant of his own Bhakta. Shuka beautifully captures this very unique Kalyana Guna and goes into a swoon. Every time we contemplate on this Guna of Bhagavan, we have been relishing the Amrita of Krishna Leela. And in the process of relishing Krishna Leela, we discover so many gems of Krishna's Gunas, and one such gem is his Guna of Bhaktavashyata or Bhrityavashyata. Through Damodara Leela, we relished how Krishna submits himself to Mother Yashoda. Not only to Mother Yashoda, we have also seen how Krishna becomes like a puppet. The one who orchestrates the workings of this universe becomes like a doll, like a puppet in the midst of his beloved Gopikas, and he plays to their whims and fancies. We saw how Krishna runs to pick up things. He dances to the tunes of the Gopikas. He even goes around fetching their sandals, doing every chore that he is being asked to do, just like a very ordinary servant would do. What an amazing Leela of Krishna. Shuka, in the process of explaining this to Parikshit, says, Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutaha jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhakti matam iha. Shuka says, hey Parikshit, look at this Leela of Bhagavan. Now he plays with all the jnanis. He plays a catch me if you can game. And for all the great jnanis, he becomes inaccessible. People have to do sadhanas for several lifetimes to grasp him, to know him, to realize him, to attain him. And here he is on that sacred land of Vraja, being so very accessible to one and all. The way he makes himself accessible to Yashoda Maya is wonder of wonders. He says, Jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhakti matam iha. Look at that supreme controller. The supreme proprietor is ready to become a robber. The supreme on Vraja, Bhagavan, who is the supreme proprietor, steals. The absolute truth lies. The very personification of self-satisfaction, self-contentment becomes hungry. The one who is time himself flees in fear. The one who is the embodiment of compassion cries. The one who is the object of all praises gets scolded. The supreme judge of the universe awaits with bated breath for a judgment. The supreme controller allows himself to be controlled. The ultimate liberator gets into a bondage. What kind of a Leela is this that Krishna plays? How can we not love that supreme Bhagavan who, out of his boundless love for his bhaktas, gets bound by bountiful bhakti? The ropes of bhakti bind him and he allows himself to become Vrityavashyata. The more we dive deep into this one Kalyana Guna of Bhagavan, we get to understand his unconditional love for all of us. No wonder Shukha, through the Dashamaskanda, keeps going into swoon. Every time he contemplates on one such Kalyana Guna of Krishna, he has to bring himself once again to continue his narration to Shukha. No, Shukha has to keep prodding. No, Shukha has to be prodded by Parikshit. Otherwise, it is not easy for Shukha to continue with the narration. Such is Krishna Anubhava. Now, we all saw how Krishna, after liberating the sons of Kubera, played as though nothing happened. All the Gopas rushed to the courtyard where Krishna, tied to the mortar by Yashoda, eventually took that opportunity to go and liberate Manigriva and Nalakuvara, the sons of Kubera. The Yamalarjuna trees were broken and Krishna liberated the sons of Kubera. All the little cowherds were rejoicing. All the little ones got the glimpse of the glorious deed of Krishna. But the adults out there missed that miracle that was happening right in front of their eyes. But they were all rejoicing that Krishna was safe and sound. Nandagopa was relieved. And time passed by and Krishna, along with Balarama and his cowherd friends, started to go farther away from home. Now we have been seeing how Krishna slowly and steadily starts moving from his own home, first into courtyard, then outside of his own courtyard, and slowly starts moving. And his cheshtitas also start to keep increasing. One such day, Krishna was playing by the riverside along with Balarama and all the other friends. It was past noon. Yashoda Maya and Rohini were worried. Their sons have not yet come back to have lunch. Therefore, Rohini goes first to call Balarama and Yashoda. They are very, very busy playing with the cowherd boys. Rohini tries to persuade the boys to come back home and have food, but she fails. So Rohini comes back and says, Yashoda, only you can charm Krishna and pull him out of this. Please, you go and call. Yashoda approaches. Instead of going closer to the boys, from far away she tries to call. Yashoda knows the moment the boys see her, they will all start running away further. So therefore, from a distance she calls out. And how beautifully she calls out to Krishna. Hey Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Ravindaksha, Thata yehi stanam piba, alam viharehi, kukshantaha, krida shantosi putraka. The way Yashoda calls, obviously, Bhagavan melts whenever Maya calls him. She says, Krishna, hey, Krishna Ravindaksha, it's time for you to come back. It's been away for a long time. Alam viharehi. Enough of playing. Alam viharehi. Chukshantaha. Krida shantosi putraka. You must be now very tired. Therefore, please come back. Please come back home. you can have lunch and then go back again and play with your friends. Krishna and Balarama are immersed in playing with all their friends. Now she knows, it's not by calling Krishna that I can pull him. Now I have to call Balarama. So therefore she calls out to Balarama, Hey Rama, Hey Balarama, Hey Rama, Agacha, Tathashu, my darling Balarama, Sanuja Kulanandana, Pratareva Kritaharaha, Tad Bhavan Bhoktumarhati. You both ate only in the morning. No, it's been only it's been 2 hours back. For Yashoda Maya, given a chance, she would continue to keep feeding Krishna throughout the day, 24 hours. Like typically, mothers would always want to keep feeding their children. Whether they are full or not, that's the mother's love. Now, obviously, Yashoda is looking at Krishna and Balarama and says, you both ate only in the morning. Now you ought to come back and eat something. Pratareva kritaharaha tad bhavan bhoktumarhati. The beautiful, we're reminded of the beautiful bhajan. Kaun kehte hai Bhagavan khate nahi, Ma Yashoda jaise khilate nahi. Yashoda had the blessing of feeding Krishna. Do we have the same blessing? We too have. We too feed Krishna every day. We offer bhog. Sometimes we may wonder, when we offer bhog to Krishna, when we the prasada, sometimes some may question, what is this practice we don't really understand? You cook food, you place the food in front of Bhagavan, and then the food remains there. Nothing happens to the food. We don't see Bhagavan eating food. And then you say, you have offered this to Bhagavan. What is going on here? What they don't realize is, our Shastras have given a very special word for a particular reason. It is no longer bhojana or ahara. The food is now called prasada. What is offered to Krishna becomes prasada. It's no longer ahara or bhojana. By the very word prasada, what is prasada? Mercy. Prasada becomes mercy, is mercy. Therefore, what we eat every day is not bhojana, it's not ahara. We are eating Krishna's mercy. To understand this, we must go back to the tradition that we all follow, even today. When we go to somebody we love, we may sometimes carry a box of sweets. We carry a box of sweets and go home to somebody whom we love. And then they receive us with all love, and in return, they may also give us some other sweets that they have made. And in all likelihood, it may be in the same box. So somebody from outside is watching us. We are carrying a box of sweets, going inside the house, spending some good time, coming back with the same box. They may wonder, what is going on here? Same box has gone in, same box has come out. They don't realize the content in the box has changed. The boxes remain the same. Laddus went in, jalebis came back. But the box is the same. Similarly, we cook food for Krishna and offer the food. The food remains the same. Luckily in Kali Yuga, Krishna has not started to eat. Dwapara Yuga, when Yashoda Maya offered food to Krishna, he started eating. Imagine Krishna starts to eat. How many of us will offer food to him? We don't know. Thankfully, he doesn't really eat food, so we readily offer everything. Whatever we like, we cook for him. Whatever we like, we cook for him and say, hey Krishna, you play. To such an extent that these days we are offering him pizza and burgers because we want to eat the same. And thankfully, he eats even that. The food remains the same, but what is transformed is, it is no longer food. Krishna's mercy pervades and permeates every morsel of the food that we have offered. It becomes Krishna Prasada. And what we consume thereafter is not ordinary food. It is Krishna's extraordinary mercy that we are consuming. That is the reason why it is so very important that we eat only his prasada. We don't eat food, we eat his prasada. How blessed Yashoda was that she was actually able to feed Krishna. Therefore here she is looking, she wants to call Krishna. She looks at Balarama and says, hey Rama, hey Kulanandana, you are our great hope. To bring Krishna back, you are our only hope remaining now. Please come. In the process of you coming, please pull Krishna and pull him, drag him and bring along. Because Yashoda knows, every bhakta knows, when Adisesha comes, Bhagavan has to come along with Adisesha. Bhagavan always is inseparable from Adisesha. So therefore she is calling out, please come, please come. That is also not working. Balarama is also engrossed in the play. Immediately she knows, these two boys, there is one thing that I can use. She says, Pratikshate tvam dasarha bokshamano vrajadipaha. He says, you know what? Your father Nandagopa is also waiting for you. He is vrajadipaha. He is the one who is the leader of Vraja. He is also not having his lunch. He is also waiting for you two boys. She knows that this will move both of them. Immediately, both of them turn around for the first time. Yehi avayoh priyam dehi swagrihan yata balakaha. All the boys, you should also go away. Why does she say that? It seems the moment Krishna heard Yashoda saying, Nandagopa is waiting for you, immediately he started to turn around and come back. But it seems all the boys around looked at Krishna and said, hey Krishna, you are now out of the game. Once you come back, we are not going to be part of this game. We are not going to allow you to continue. All these boys, they all put peer pressure, right? Peer pressure started in Dwapara Yuga, not today. Today, the peer pressure is happening on online games. Those days, it happened in physical games. So, peer pressure, and immediately Krishna and Balarama decide, no, we cannot. If we go back for lunch and everybody is here, then we will be out of the game. And therefore, Yashoda Maya realizes that. She says the only way to get them back is push the boys away. Therefore, she says, Yehi avayoh priyam dehi swagrihan nyata balakaha. Hey boys, enough of playing. All go back home. Time to have lunch. And then, finally, the boys are dispersing. Krishna and Balarama are walking towards Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda looks at Krishna. Just a couple of hours back, I spent all my efforts nicely decorating you. And then look how you look. Completely filled with all mud and dirt and all that. Dhuli dusharitangasvam putra majjanam avaha. Janmakshamte adya bhavati viprebhyo dehiga shuchihi. Dhuli dusharitangasvam. What does they say, Krishna? Your body is filled with all kinds of dust. You must now come and take bath, and only then you must have food. Way back there, it was a practice that before having food, one must have bath. Mothers from then until today continue with the same plea. Please come have food, but first have bath. And children up to this day fail to have bath before having food. This tussle, it looks like, has been going on forever. Mother Yashoda is looking at Krishna and says, it's better. I know you are hungry. But again, see, she is also an ideal mother here. She knows Krishna is going to be hungry. She wants to feed him. But she says, first have your bath. So in a way, she is also disciplining Krishna. She is not giving up. You are all dirty. First have bath. Dhuli dusharitangastvam putra majjanam avaha. Janmakshamte adya bhavati. Incidentally, today happens to be your Janma Nakshatra. Today happens to be your Janma Nakshatra. Hey Krishna, therefore all the more reason you must have bath. Krishna likes to get nicely decorated all the time. Possibly, now and then, once in a while, he possibly would tell mother, it's okay, you are anyway decorating nice. Who would find out whether I have bath or not? Some people have this practice. Earlier day before going to bed, I'll have bath. So next day morning when I go to school, it's okay. I will just go. Who will find out? There are perfumes available today in the market. Nobody will find out. No? Krishna, following Krishna is a problem. That's why it is said, follow Rama, but when it comes to practices, follow Rama. When it comes to teachings, listen to Krishna. So Krishna today is your Janma Nakshatra day. We have lots of charities to be given away, and therefore you must come, have your bath, eat, and there are duties that you need to perform. Nandagopa is waiting. It's an auspicious day. You should not fail to do your duties. And then she looks at all the other boys. All of them have been playing together. She notices every other boy's makeup, everything is intact. Only Krishna is filled with dust. Pashya pashya vayasyamste matrimishtan svalankritan pamcha snatah kritaharo viharasva salankrita. See, look at all the boys around. They too have been playing with you. Look at how clean they are. Not an iota of dust on their bodies. You definitely must come, have your bath, eat. Then I will decorate you with all the ornaments once again. The same process that I went through in the morning. Then you can go back and play. Mother Yashoda would never want Krishna to step out of home without his alankara, because she was so very possessive. Not because alankara adds beauty to Krishna. She knows without his abharanas, his beauty is even more. She did not want all the gopikas to see Krishna's beauty without his alankara. So therefore, his alankara in a way is to reduce. People think, they put that drishti bottu on the cheek. Yashoda Maya used to put a big one. As it is, he is dark blue hued. And another, put that so that his beauty will get camouflaged. This is what Yashoda Maya thought, but she did not understand that whatever one does to Krishna, his magnetic beauty will not diminish. Therefore, Mother Yashoda brings Krishna, she says, come home. Yittam Yashodatam Asesha Shekaram Matva Sutam Sneha Nibaddadir Nripa Haste Grihitva Saharama Machutam Nitva Swavatam Kritavatyathodayam. Ittam Yashodatam Asesha Shekaram. Of course, Yashoda did not realize, or Bhagavan did not allow her to realize, that he is Asesha Shekaram. What is all this dirt on his body? He is Akilaheya Pratyanika Kalyanaikatana Svetara Samastavastu Vilakshana Ananta Jnananandaika Swarupa. He is filled with auspicious qualities, innumerable auspicious qualities. So what will ordinary dust will do to him? But he wants to play this with Yashoda. That is the way he lovingly exchanges. The contradictions that we see in Krishna Leela. We may wonder, we ask, why the very epitome of Satya, he is Satyasya Satya, but he speaks lies. He owns everything, but he steals. He is the supreme controller, but gets controlled. What are these contradictions? Shuka says, these are not contradictions. These contradictions are abharanas that Bhagavan wears. This is the way he exchanges love with his bhaktas. These are ornaments that he adorns. We think they are contradictions, but it is through these contradictions that Krishna reciprocates love with his bhaktas. So therefore, Mother Yashoda is now looking, Haste grihitva saharama machutam. Both of you hold your hands and come together. She knows, Balarama at least will keep coming forward. Hold his hand. Both of you come together. And then she brings them, both of them, home. She nicely gives them bath, dresses them, decorates them, and feeds them. Such was Yashoda's love for Krishna. Time passes by. The elders of Gokula, they all get together one day. They are also equally worried as Nanda and Yashoda, because again and again calamity seems to strike Gokula in one way or the other. Nanda is reminded of the prophecy that was told by Gargya Muni before. They have already witnessed Putana, Shakata, Trinavarta, several kinds of unimaginable kind of Rakshasas visiting Gokula, and the dangers that have struck Gokula were never ever before witnessed. So not only Yashoda was concerned, not only Nandagopa was concerned, entire Gokula, all the Gopas and the Gopikas were concerned. Therefore all the elders got together. Upananda, who is the elder brother of Nandagopa, was headed the meeting. They all got together. They started to discuss. Something very mysterious is going on. something very untoward seems to be happening all the time. Somehow or the other, there are dangers that we are facing that we have never ever come across. We must find a solution to this. Our little Krishna is facing danger and we do not want Krishna to be hurt. And as they are discussing, Upananda comes up with a solution. Upananda says, we need to somehow protect Krishna. Everyone in Gokula had equal measure of love for Krishna. It's not just Yashoda, it's not just Nanda. All of them had only one thought running in their minds. How do we protect our little Krishna? They did not realize it is he who is protecting them. But then out of love for Krishna, they all started to think, how do we find a solution? Upananda came up with a solution. He said, remember, earlier we were in a different village. The Vrajabhumi is divided into multiple hamlets. Earlier, Nandeshwara was the capital of the Vrajabhumi. Because of the menace of Arishtasura, all the Vrajavasis decided to move from Nandeshwara to Gokula. Gokula is also called Mahavana or Brihadvana. Now, there are several vanas in Vraja. We will soon visit all these vanas. Brihadvana or Mahavana is also called Gokula. So, all the Vrajavasis settled in Brihadvana, Mahavana, moving from Nandeshwara. So, Upananda reminds them, earlier we moved because of the menace of Arishtasura. Now it is time, possibly, we must relocate. But always when they relocate, they have one important priority in their relocation. How do we feed our cows and calves? They need to relocate to a place which has abundant supply of grass, abundant supply of what is required for the cows and the calves. Therefore, Upananda makes a suggestion. Possibly we should all now move from Brihadvana, where we are, which is Gokula, to a place called Vrindavana. Vrindavana is a very serene place, filled with lush green forests, and it has beautiful lakes, it has Yamuna flowing through, and it has abundance of everything that we need. So therefore, let us all move to Vrindavana. Krishna has been waiting for this. Vrindavana and Krishna are inseparable, and therefore the moment Upananda makes a suggestion, Krishna is excited, and all the Gopas and the Gopis too are excited, and they all decide, as recommended by Upananda, then they start a procession. They start to move their settlement with everything loaded on the bullock carts, all the Gopikas nicely decorated, beautifully, and singing Krishna's glories. One thing that Vrajavasis constantly do, whatever they do, they're always celebrating the Leelas of Krishna, and obviously Krishna has given them enough fodder, to constantly keep contemplating and singing his glories. So the whole of Gokula, hundreds and hundreds of bullock carts, hundreds and hundreds of cows, hundreds and hundreds of calves, all nicely decorated like a procession, start to move from Gokula all the way to Vrindavana. Krishna is sitting on Yashoda Maya's lap on the bullock, one of the bullock carts. On the adjacent one, Balarama is sitting on Rohini's lap, and both of them are looking at each other. And as they were going, they are passing by Yamuna, they are passing by Govardhana, and they are passing by the forests of Vrindavana. Krishna is excited. Finally, I am arriving at the place where I want to be. And he's so very excited that as they are passing by, he's already hatching plans. Now I know how I should regularly visit these forests of Vrindavana. So very beautiful. Krishna's divine playfulness blooms in the sacred soil of Vrindavana. Now we all know, the moment we contemplate Vrindavana, we also can visualize Krishna's playfulness. It is in Vrindavana that Krishna performs his rasa, and it is the place where we see the Atimanusha Cheshtitas of Krishna. So therefore, this is the sacred land where every moment is a celebration, a sacred land where every moment is joyful. And Krishna, as they are passing by, is already marking the places. This is where I will start coming from tomorrow. This already he and Balarama are saying, let's all mark the right spots, because Vrindavana, a good part of Vrindavana is filled with forests, lush green trees, dark jungles, and Krishna and Balarama know how exciting it would be to come here and start playing every day. Krishna's playful activities are beautifully described by Shuka. Shuka starts to narrate to Parikshit. Kvachit vadayato venum kshepanaihi kshapatah kvachit. Kvachit padaihi kinkinibihi. Kvachit kritima govarshaihi. Vrishamanau nardantau. Yuhudate parasparam. Anukritya ruteir jantun. Cheratuhu prakritah yata. Cheratuhu prakritah yata. Just like ordinary human children, Krishna and Balarama, it seems, started to wander around Vrindavana. And what kind of playful activities? Kvachit vadayato venum. Kvachit vadayato venum. Now and then, Krishna, it seems, start to play flute. And this is the time in Vrindavana, he started to play flute so that people can flock around him. Kshepanaihi kshipitah kvachit. This is where he found all kinds of mechanisms to get fruits from the trees, using ropes, using stones. Kvachit padaihi kinkinibihi. Started to play football. The football started in Dwapara Yuga, not in Kali Yuga. Krishna and Balarama played football with various fruits. Kvachit kritima govarshaihi. Covering themselves with blankets. They used to play like cows and buffaloes. Anukritya ruteir jantun. Imitating voice of animals. Krishna, through his playful activities, through his leelas in Vrindavana, teaches us something very, very important. These are not just ordinary playful activities. Krishna gives us a very fundamental message. All of us take life so very seriously. We are all looking at life so very seriously all the time. Krishna's leelas remind us the very essence of life. Life is to be lived, rooted in innocence, rooted in childlike innocence. Life has to be a playful journey, recognizing that every moment in life is so very precious, recognizing how all of us leading our lives and living are all interconnected. Krishna's every playful activity sends out a very powerful message. Kvachit vadayato venum. By playing flute, Krishna reminds a message, become hollow, let his divine melody flow through us so that we too can create enchanting melodies of love and peace. Otherwise, our life is only filled with cacophony, all kinds of noises. Become like flutes, he says. Kvachit vadayato venum, kshepanaihi kshipatak kvachit. Using all kinds of creative tools, ropes and stones, plucking fruits. What a very important message Krishna is giving. Grace accompanies effort and creativity. We have to lead our lives putting our efforts. We cannot walk away from our effort, but grace will accompany when there is an effort. Kvachit padaihi kinkinibihi. True joy in life is in very simple things. Gone are the days when our generation, we used to play cricket not even with tennis balls. We used to play cricket made out of all kinds of rubber bands all put together, and we used to enjoy the game. Today, in cities, children can't even play cricket because there is no place to play cricket. True joy lies in celebrating life's simple things. Everything in life is very simple. We are looking at complex things to extract joy. Krishna says it's very simple. Having gala time, playing football with fruits. Kvachit kritima govarshaihi. Life is a leela. Play every role, so very authentically. Krishna is playing a cow. Krishna is playing a buffalo. Krishna is connecting with nature, teaching how it is very important in life not to miss out on the childlike innocence. Krishna approaches Nandagopa and comes up with a proposition. Father, from tomorrow I have a brilliant idea, he says. Nanda says, what is your idea, hey Krishna? I am going to now start tending calves and cows. I want to share your burden. Krishna's idea is now to venture into Vrindavana. to the forest. Now he knows if he just says, I want to go and just have some gala time playing, there may be opposition. He says, I will share your burden. There are hundreds and thousands of cows and calves. You and other elders, adults, are finding it hard to tend to these calves. We children will share your burden. From tomorrow onwards, every day in the morning, right in the morning, we all of us as a group, we will go and we will start tending calves and cows, hoping that he will immediately get permission. Yashoda Maya comes rushing all the way. She hears partially. No way. How can you go all alone? Even if you go with children, you cannot go. No permission granted. But he convinces Nandagopa. Nandagopa says, provided you go as a group, all of you, and if you stick to timings, maybe we will allow you. Then immediately Yashoda looks at Krishna's lotus feet. His lotus feet are so very tender. Tears start rolling down from Yashoda's eyes. She says, hey Kanha, how can you even think of walking on those rugged terrains? The forests of Vrindavana have no regular roads. They are all rugged, filled with sharp stones and pebbles and thorns. If you walk barefooted, you will get hurt. I cannot let you go. I will make a nice paduka for you so that you can wear them and then go. Krishna looks around and says, Mother, I like this idea, but do you know why I am going? I am going to take care of the cows and calves. And if I am going to wear padukas, can you also arrange padukas for all the cows and the calves? Because I am serving them. Literally, they are my masters. Bhagavan is saying the cows and the calves are my masters. I am going to serve them. So how can a master wear padukas and not the servants? Now Yashoda thinks, she starts counting the number of cows and the calves, runs into thousands. Where will I make so many padukas for these cows? He says, hey, you are always give me impossible challenges, hey Krishna. This conversation between Yashoda Maya and Krishna is overheard by the cows outside. They all get together that night. They say, there is something that we need to do. Our master, our Gopala wants to serve us and he is ready to walk barefoot on the rugged roads of Vrindavana. We must serve him too. Lo and behold, then and there, the ropes with which they were tied become untied. All the cows are now free. They all start running during midnight. They all run to the forests of Vrindavana and they start to stamp. They have hoofs which are very strong. The cows realize that they have strong hoofs. They start stamping their hoofs on all the rugged roads and breaking all the pebbles, smoothening the roads. The roads and the pathways of Vrindavana become so soft and so smooth, and throughout the night all the cows work hard and ensure now tomorrow when Krishna walks on these roads, the roads are smooth for his tender feet to be placed on these. Satisfied, they all come back. When Krishna starts the next morning, this becomes an everyday event. And in Vrindavana, this becomes like a routine for all the families. First, it is the time for Nandagopa and Yashoda to come out and say goodbye. With Krishna, Balarama, with the herd of cows and calves, hundreds of them, they start saying bye to Yashoda, and then the next house, Gopas and Gopikas, they come out and say bye to Krishna. And one after the other, all the streets of Vrindavana, everybody come out. Everybody comes so fast so that they can feast. Their eyes can be filled with Krishna. And it seems through the day they remain outside, not going inside. Because they want once again to see Krishna coming back safe and sound before dropping everything. The whole of Vrindavana, every household remains on the streets. They see Krishna going and they keep waiting until the dusk when he comes back. And now there are hundreds and thousands of cows and calves. And Krishna takes care of the cows and calves so very well. He ensures that he is only at the back. Now Krishna is only 3 years old. So he is so short. He is not even tall as a cow. He is maybe on the same height as a calf. But he ensures that he doesn't lead from the front. He wants to ensure the safety of each cow and calf. So he remains at the back, ensuring, and he keeps calling out to each and cow. The beauty is he has a bond with every cow, with every calf, and he knows among all the thousands of names of every cow and calf. So he ensures they all come back on track and the path. And in the evening, at the time of dusk, all the people of Vrindavana are looking at the dust that is generated as hundreds of cows are coming back inside their village. Now they are excited and happy. They know. Now they see when the dust comes up, they know that once again all the cows and all the goats are coming and their Gopala is coming too. But they have to wait for hundreds of cows to pass by, hundreds of calves to pass by. But they can wait patiently to get glimpse of their Gopala finally walking in, and it is only after seeing him, every household, they decide to go back. Such was the routine in Vrindavana, day in and day out, day after day. Life was going on so very beautifully in Vrindavana, and another calamity strikes. One day, Krishna, along with all the cowherds and Balarama, they were in the forests of Vrindavana tending to the calves. Now there are hundreds of calves. Then suddenly, an Asura sent by Kamsa decides that I will impersonate myself as another calf. And he assumes the form of a calf. Vatsa. Vatsa is a tender, small calf, a baby cow. He is Vatsasura because he has taken the form of Vatsa. Vatsasura takes the form of a calf and he mingles. He becomes one amongst the hundreds of calves. Now he is very happy. He thinks, now I have fooled everyone. Now, incidentally, all the calves and the cows also do not recognize his deception. He managed to deceive even the fellow calves as well. Now, take the case of the golden deer in Ramayana. Maricha, when he assumed the form of a golden deer, he was not able to deceive the animals in the forest. The Valmiki beautifully captures that. It seems even squirrels and the fellow deer could recognize that this is not one amongst them. He is somebody else, and they kept a distance. So when Maricha was going around, no animal, including small birds and squirrels, ensured to be at a safe distance, prompting Lakshmana to say, this is not a golden deer, this is a Rakshasa. Now it looks like Vatsasura is even more powerful in terms of deception than Maricha. So he managed to deceive even the calves and the cows, and he is one amongst. But Vatsasura is a fool. He does not know the loving bond that Krishna has with each and every calf. Krishna turned around and he noticed this calf, this Vatsasura, obviously, he's an imposter, and Krishna was also waiting for the right moment. So they were all planning to come back. Herds, hundreds of cows, hundreds of calves, and Krishna looks at Balarama. Balarama looks at Krishna, and they always speak in sign languages, and only both of them can understand each other, obviously. He points out to Vatsasura. Balarama also acknowledges that this is trouble brewing. And what does Krishna do? Obviously, he takes a position at the back. And as Vatsasura was progressing slowly and steadily, he goes behind Vatsasura and slyly with stealth, he goes and grabs Vatsasura by his hind legs. And he grabs his hind legs and his tail and lifts him. Before Vatsasura could even realize, he was up in the air, lifted away from the ground. And what does Krishna do? Shuka beautifully explains that Grihitva parapadabhyam sahalangulam machyuta bhramayitva kapittagre rahinot gata jivitam sakapittair mahakayaha patyamanehi papataha. What did Krishna do? Holding him by the hind legs and holding langulam. Langulam means by the tail. Holding him by the tail, he started to whirl Vatsasura around so very violently with great speed, around and around and round. And Vatsasura did not understand what is hitting him. Everything happened instantaneously, whirling him round and round and round. He hurled him with all force on towards a Kapitha tree. He went and fell, crashed on the Kapitha tree. Together with the tree, the Vatsasura fell down on the ground, and all of a sudden, as he falls down, obviously, he transforms back to his original form. A grotesque looking Rakshasa crashing on the tree. The tree crashes, the Rakshasa crashes, and he falls on the ground dead. Everybody is wondering what has happened. Everything has happened in a jiffy. Before all could realize, all the cowherds could realize, everything has happened. Vatsasura is a demon who stands for wickedness. Vatsasura is the embodiment of wickedness. What is wickedness? Wickedness is sometimes we mistake weakness to wickedness. Weakness is so very different from wickedness. Who is weak? Who is wicked? All of us have weaknesses. All of us have weaknesses. And it is quite natural because of the baggage that we carry into this life. It is quite natural. And Bhagavan accepts our weaknesses. Bhagavan accepts us as we are. With all our doshas, with all our imperfections, He accepts us as, He doesn't lay down any prerequisites. He doesn't say, come back to me after you conquer all your weaknesses. Come back to me as a perfect being, then I will accept you. He also knows if He puts that condition, nobody will stand in front of Him. Because everybody has one weakness or the other. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madamatsariyas in varying degrees. In varying degrees, all of us have these weaknesses. Now, the problem is that when these weaknesses are not cured, when the weaknesses are covered and not cured, these weaknesses slowly and steadily become wickedness. A weakness ends up into wickedness when we fail to cure the weakness, when we fail to cover. It is natural for one to get angry. But if we repeatedly cultivate to be angry all the time, it is just a matter of time before the anger slowly and steadily translates into rage and eventually will become hurting to other people. The main difference between a weakness and wickedness is when my weakness starts to hurt somebody badly, that starts to become wickedness. All of us have this inner conscience in us. Every time our weakness tries to overpower us, conscience in us says, no, it's wrong. You're doing something wrong. Now I become angry. Immediately there is something in me which says, after all, maybe, this is not the time you should express your anger. What happens is over a period of time, we make our conscience numb. Because why? We overpower the conscience, say, you keep saying what you want. I will continue. And the conscience becomes numb. After a while, it becomes dumb. Because at some point it keeps talking to us. Soon it will realize there's no point in talking. It will become dumb. And then finally one day we dump. From numbness to dumbness to dumpness. We'll end up. So what happens? The conscience becomes deadened. We reach the dead end of our progress. The weakness has become wickedness. Every weakness that we have, if it is not cured, becomes wickedness. Vatsasura is that very embodiment of wickedness. If we are not watchful, every weakness that we have will transform into a Vatsasura. And therefore, Krishna says, through this Leela of Vatsasura Mardana, the important message for us is the only way we can stop succumbing ourselves to our weakness. The only way we can stop is with Krishna's support. Our weakness can only be prevented from overpowering us when we have something stronger than our weakness. What is weakness? Weakness is something which makes us weak. And we keep looking at all our weaknesses and we keep even justifying. This weakness of mine is so strong. We keep saying, very difficult to overcome it. We even rationalize, justify and say, what to do? It comes with me. So it becomes stronger and stronger. There is no point in looking at my weakness and saying how strong it is. Instead, there is no point in going to Krishna and saying, hey Krishna, look at my weakness, how strong it is. Instead, we should look at our weakness and say, hey, weakness, how strong Krishna is. The moment we turn this around, then all of our weaknesses start becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. It is so very important for us to prevent our weakness into becoming wickedness. And Vatsasura Vada keeps reminding us on the importance of taking Krishna's help to prevent weakness becoming wicked. Very interestingly here, Shukha, while he is narrating this incident, he says, Grihitva parapadabhyam sahalangulam achyuta, he says. What did Achyuta do? He is not saying Sagalangulam Krishna, Madhava, Govinda. He says Achyuta. Who is Achyuta? Achyuta is one who does not let us down, who always holds us. Because of his love, he holds everyone. He holds everyone, no doubt. But he also holds everyone accountable. This is what we need to understand from the Leela of Vatsasura Vada. Krishna is ready to hold even Vatsasura. Krishna was even ready. He was Achyuta even to Duryodhana. He was ready to hold Duryodhana's hand with care and compassion and love. But as long as weakness remains a weakness, when the weakness translates and becomes wickedness, Krishna holds us accountable for that. This is what happened to Duryodhana, isn't it? Duryodhana's envy, Duryodhana's jealousy did not just remain his weakness. Slowly and steadily, that envy and jealousy as a weakness became his wickedness, became the cause for destruction, devastation, to hurt thousands of people. And this is not acceptable to Krishna. Therefore, he is Achyuta, who is ready to hold each and every one with all our doshas, with all our weakness. But he holds us accountable to our weaknesses. Now, preventing our weakness to become into wickedness is our job. Holding to us and supporting us is his job. But it is important for us to also ensure that we do not cover up our weaknesses and let them become our wickedness. So therefore here, Shukha calls Krishna Achyuta, Grihitva parapadhabhyam sahalangula achyuta. Let us contemplate here, just like how he held, Vatsasura, holding his tail, Langulam, and whirled and hurled it, crashing it then and there. Each and every weakness of ours can be effortlessly whirled and hurled by Krishna, crashing it to making them disappear. Tau vatsa palakau bhutva sarvalokaika palakau sapratarashau govatsams charayantu vicheratuhu. Krishna and Balarama, after that very incident, immediately they wanted to make everybody feel comfortable. All the cowherd boys were all shocked. They were in both awe and in shock. Immediately they arranged, let's all sit down, everything is normal, let's have a breakfast together. They all sat down, have breakfast so that everybody becomes comfortable, and then they went on with the rest of their chores, as he says, charayantu vicheratuhu. Just like two ordinary cowherds, the maintainers, sarvalokaika palakau, they went about doing their regular chores as if they are another cowherds. This incident once again brought back to focus amongst all the elders. What is again happening? We need to be even more careful. Once again they tried to persuade Krishna. Maybe you must stop going to Vrindavana, taking all the cows and calves. But Krishna, right from that time onwards, is a great persuader. All his persuasive skills were developed there with Nandagopa and Yashoda. Later on, he has to persuade Arjuna to fight. So therefore, the practice started there, persuaded them that he must continue to go. So one day, they were once again taking their calves and the cows, tending to them in Vrindavana on the banks of a lake. The lake was so beautiful, but there they saw, in the lake, right in the midst of the lake, they saw a massive object. They saw like a mountain kind of an object struck by thunderbolt. It was very grotesque looking, massive object. Then as they got closer together, closer all together. They went closer. They saw it is not just some big rock or something like that. It was actually a baka. It was a heron, a crane, a massive sized crane, which was waiting for Krishna to come closer and closer. And this was none other than another asura sent by Kamsa, who is popularly called Bakasura because he looks like Baka, crane. So Bakasura is waiting there on the banks of the lake to attack Krishna. Krishna approaches. As he gets closer, Bakasura pounces on Krishna, and before anybody can realize, even Balarama is shocked. Because what Bakasura does, he swallows with his massive, large-sized beak. He holds Krishna and he swallows Krishna. In a moment, Krishna disappears. In front of the eyes of Balarama and all the cowherd boys, a lot of them fall unconscious, not able to understand what's going on. Krishna disappears inside Bakasura. Bakasura swallows Krishna. Tamtalu moolam pradahantum agnivad gopalasunum pitaram jagadguru chachadda sadyo atirushakshatam bhakaha tundena hantum punarabhya padyata. Bakasura also did not, he underestimated Krishna. When he swallowed Krishna, what did Krishna do? Shuka beautifully narrates, he says, Tamtalu moolam pradahantam agnivat Gopala sunum. He is Gopala sunum. He is son of Nandagopa. He is a Gopala, ordinary cowherd. But is he an ordinary cowherd? Everybody thinks an ordinary cowherd, including Bakasura. Gopala sunum pitaram jagadguru. He is Jagadguru, he is Pita of the Loka, Pitasi Lokasya Characharasya, Tamassa Pujyasya Gurur Gariyan, Natvat Samostabhyatikah Kutonyah, Lokatrayepi Apratima Prabhavaha. Arjuna beautifully prostrates to Krishna and declares. Here, Bakasura finally realized he swallowed something. This is what possibly the proverb that they say, don't chew and swallow more than you can. He swallowed who? Jagadguru. He swallowed the Lokapita. He swallowed the creator inside. And what did Krishna do? Tamtalu moolam pradahantum agnivat. Krishna immediately turned into a ball of fire and and Bakasura could feel fire consuming him from inside. A ball of fire. Bakasura never experienced anything like this. And immediately what did he do? He had no other choice but to disgorge, to spit out immediately. He opened his beak so that he could be relieved of the ball of fire. And in a matter of time, when all the Gopas were looking at what's going on, Krishna goes in, Krishna comes out. The same Krishna who goes in, same Krishna comes out smiling, as though he's achieved something, and all of them are so very happy. But Bakasura does not leave. He has not learnt his lesson. Krishna jumps out as Bakasura spits him out. Then Bakasura thinks, I can still kill him, and tries to attack him with his long beak. What Krishna does immediately, Krishna looks at Bakasura and he holds his beak strongly, and then he tears Bakasura apart, like just effortlessly tearing a blade of grass into two halves and throws the two halves of Bakasura. In a moment, all the cowherd boys are witnessing this magical act that has been performed, and without them knowing, there are showers of flowers, because for all the devatas have been witnessing this, and they are all in wonder. Throughout Krishna Leelas, whenever Krishna slays any asura, what is very interesting, that he slays them without the support of any of his Divyayudas. No, none of his Divyayudas are exercised in any of the slaying of any of the asuras. Krishna wants to prove a point in all these cheshtitas, that it is effortless, it's a child's play. He does not need that extraordinary power of his Divyayudas. So just with his own hands, he tears Bakasura apart like tearing a piece of blade of grass, and all the Gopas are surprised, and one after the other, spontaneously, right from Balarama, each of the Gopa, they come and hug Krishna. They are so happy that Krishna is safe, secure. There is a long queue to hug Krishna. They all hug one after the other. And then they go back loudly cheering. And that day in the procession, as Krishna comes back with the cowherds along with the cows and the calves, the whole of Vrindavana can listen to the loud cheers of the cowherd boys cheering and jeering and celebrating the victory of Krishna over Bakasura. Iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katam muda kurvanto ramamanascha navindam bhavavedanam. All the elders also now realized, while they are concerned, they also realize they must not miss out on the opportunity to celebrate. The little ones are celebrating. Why should we not celebrate? Yes, they are concerned about Krishna's welfare and safety, but they must also celebrate. It seems they also started celebrating, talking about these glorious deeds of Krishna. Iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katham muda. They started discussing Krishna and Balarama's cheshtitas in Vrindavana and elsewhere, and that became a great topic. Every time there was any congregation anywhere in Vrindavana, it was only around, you know what happened, you know what Krishna did, you know how he did this. It was, the conversation always was around Krishna. Kurvanto ramamanascha, with great pleasure. Every time they said Krishna, their faces bloomed, their eyes blossomed, their hearts were filled with love, and it was an expression of that boundless love they had for Krishna. Navindan bhavavedanam. Rajabhumi became like Vaikuntha, where there is no bhava vedana, there is no contamination of samsara. There is no contamination, because they were just like how the Mukta Jiva enjoys unalloyed bliss. All the Vrajavasis enjoyed unalloyed bliss, contemplating on the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna made it a regular routine now to ensure not only he takes all the cows along the cow boys to the forest every day, he also ensured now that even breakfast, lunch are now only in Vrindavan, not at homes. The phase now has changed. The one who used to steal butter, slightly growing now. Now Krishna has decided, let us all have picnic every day. Not only on weekends, everyday picnic. So it seems early in the morning he used to wake up. Now kids notice Krishna woke up early in the morning. And after having his bath and after having decorated very nicely, it seems there was a bugle that he used to use, not the flute, bugle. It seems he went outside his house and started blowing the bugle. The moment he blew this, the whole of Vrindavan knew now it's time for all the Gopas to come out. Now it is time for the Gopas. The Gopikas have to wait. Krishna is still growing. He's still a little child. Now it is time for the Gopas to have fun. Now the moment he blew the bugle, all the Gopas rushed. They also their mothers also wanted to decorate them exactly like Krishna. It was like hundreds and thousands of Krishnas. But then they were in a hurry. They said, Mother, we will take care of our Alankara. Leave it to us. We are going to Vrindavana. Vrindavana is filled with beautiful trees with different kinds of flowers. And all these Gopas made it a point, like Krishna, who used to wear Vanamala. All the Gopas, the moment they went to Vrindavana, they all used to pluck flowers, nicely make a garland. All the Gopas were wearing Vanamala. All of them were having a beautiful peacock feather. Everybody was nicely dressed and decorated like Krishna, and all of them, their daily morning routine started with a nice Vanabhojana, picnic. Breakfast was a Vanabhojana, sitting around and having fun together. Shuka says, what kind of playful time all these boys had. They were having games, they were competing, but at the same time they were having fun. Shuka says, some boys were having time blowing flutes and bugles. Some were imitating the sound of bumblebees and cuckoos. Some were running after the shadows of the birds on the ground. Some were imitating the posture of the swans. Some were imitating the posture of the cranes. Some were making faces like monkeys, which come very naturally to children. And going to the waterfalls, having fun in Yamuna, and laughing at their own reflections in the Yamuna river. Every Gopa was having a gala time, and that was the best times ever on Vrajabhumi. Shuka beautifully says, how blessed the Gopas are, how blessed all the cowherds were. Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasyam gatanam paradaivatena mayashritanam naradarakena sakam vijahruhu kritapunya punjaha. What kind of punya these Gopas have accumulated? Shuka himself doesn't know. What kind of punya is this? And he says, Ittam satam brahma sukhanubhutya. The jnanis spend lifetimes for tasting the sukhanubhava. That brahmananda, that brahma sukha comes to them small ounces. Krishna, even to the great jnanis, after several lifetimes, decides to give them that brahma sukha, that brahmananda in small ounces. Dasyam gatanam paradaivatanam. The great bhaktas, they are in search of Krishna's feet, but they can only get glimpses of his feet now and then. Krishna plays hide and seek with them. Krishna says, Maya Shritanam Naradarakena. On the other hand, the other extreme, for the karmis, he says for the karmis, they look at Krishna and say he's an ordinary child. They're not really excited at all. Krishna says, how blessed are the Gopas, Shakam Vijahruhu Krita Punya Punjaha. But these Gopas, they have accumulated heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of Punya Karma that Krishna has decided to play with them. Krishna has not decided to play. Shuka is saying this with angst. Krishna did not decide to play with me. Krishna did not decide to play with my father Vyasa. Krishna did not choose even Parashara, Vyasa, Shuka, even those who are on the pinnacle of Krishna Kainkariya, even they were not chosen. Shuka is saying, these ordinary Gopas were chosen by Krishna. No other had the fortune to play with them. How blessed they are. Krishna decides to play with the Gopas. The question that we need to ask is, Krishna, will he also play with us? The answer is very clear. Krishna loves to play with us too. The answer is very, very clear. Krishna is earning longing. He looks at each and every one of us as a Gopa, as a Gopika. It is for us to decide whether we play, whether we participate in Krishna's play. Participating in Krishna's play means recognizing that we must pause. We must regularly pause to relish every moment. Every moment is permeated by Krishna. Every moment we need to perceive Krishna's presence. He is present in every moment of our life. And we can recognize this and realize this only when we pause. Participating in Krishna's play means we must live with childlike wonder. We must be in wonder of Krishna's creation. We must be in awe of the world, which is so very beautiful because the world maker is beautiful. Participating in Krishna's play means we have to act. We have to do our duty with creativity and with fearlessness, knowing that Krishna is a partner in every act that we do. Participating in Krishna's play means we need to yield to the flow of His grace. We need to pause. We need to live life with wonder. We need to act with creativity and courage. And we need to yield to Krishna's flow of grace. Play. P-L-A-Y. Krishna is waiting for us to become part of His play. And as we come to the end of another beautiful year, it is only appropriate that we celebrate this play of Krishna. It is Krishna's mercy. It is Krishna's mercy that we have been given a lifetime opportunity or an opportunity in several lives to relish Krishna Katha as narrated by Shukha and Bhagavata. We are so very blessed. It is this very year that we completed 700 shlokas of Gita. It is this very year we started to relish Krishna Katha through Bhagavatam. What a special year for us to end the last satsang of this calendar year celebrating Krishna's playfulness, celebrating Krishna's invitation to each and every one of us. It is in this very year that Krishna willed that we must plan to proceed to Vrindavana, to continue our celebration of Krishna Katha. And therefore, as we conclude this year, let us make a resolution. Resolutions need not be only on January 1st. We need to start preparing from today. Let us resolve that we resolve to take part, accept Krishna's invitation. Krishna has sent us the invitation. Will you be part of my play? This is the invitation. It is up to us now to accept that invitation and engage in play with Krishna. Let us continue to contemplate on Krishna's Kalyana Guna of Bhrityavashyata. He goes to any length just to ensure that we somehow turn our direction, somehow we turn our attention, somehow we give time to Krishna in our lives. And let us take this opportunity that Krishna will give us, strengthen our will, strengthen our resolve. So as we begin another new year, very soon, another new calendar year, we will only accelerate our journey. We will only accelerate the Kainkarya that we continue to do, and we continue on this blissful journey of immersing ourselves in Krishna Anubhava. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.